Had we not got out when we did,
Our security was being pulled. Everyone in the world knew where we were.
Sort of decision between the two of us. Are we ready to go back into the house that we grew up in?
What if everything you thought about Archie's birth was a carefully crafted illusion? A woman has come forward with shocking claims about Meghan Markle, money, and a secret kept for years. If true, this changes everything. Stick around, and don't forget to hit subscribe for more breaking updates. Some stories just won't stay buried. No matter how much time passes or how many headlines push them aside, they keep finding their way back. This one? It's louder than ever. For years, there have been quiet questions swirling around Meghan Markle and the birth of Archie. Whispers, curiosity, online threads full of people trying to put together a puzzle that never made sense. And now, someone is finally talking. A woman has stepped forward, claiming she played a major role in Archie's birth. And not as a nurse, not as a friend, but as the person who carried him. According to her, Meghan and Harry made sure the truth stayed hidden. She says she was promised money, safety, and a life away from the spotlight, but instead, she was left behind.
I knew that I wanted to put something in the world, and for years, we've been out here for 5 years.
And here's the twist. She's not asking for attention. She's not looking to become famous. She says she stayed quiet for years out of loyalty, but that loyalty was broken. And now, so is her silence. Let's break it down. The woman claims that Meghan and Harry didn't just use a surrogate. They paid her off to disappear. According to her, everything was arranged behind closed doors, meetings with legal teams, carefully worded agreements, and strict promises that she would be taken care of. But the care never came. She says that after Archie was born, she was simply pushed out of the picture. No check-ins, no long-term support, just silence. And now, after years of waiting and hoping for fairness, she's come forward. Not with gossip, but with details. This isn't just a vague accusation. She reportedly has timelines, names, and even documents.
Done with the prove it game. I don't need to prove to you why that's your...
We're talking about private meetings with attorneys, records of communication, and compensation terms that were supposedly never honored. She claims she played her part perfectly, kept her head down, stayed out of sight, just like she was told. But that deal, she says, has been broken. And what happens next? Well, that's the part everyone's watching for. Because if she drops proof, even just a message or a phone call, this story could take a very real turn. What makes this even more strange is how Meghan and Harry are handling it. Or rather, how they're not. In the past, Meghan has never been shy about correcting the narrative. From media headlines to personal attacks, she's responded with interviews, lawsuits, and well-crafted public statements. She's fought back with precision. But now, nothing. Not a press release, not a single denial, not even a no comment.
And so I think for a lot of people, the biggest question was, what happens now?
This kind of silence is unusual. Meghan has built her public image on transparency, speaking her truth, calling out unfair treatment, standing firm in the face of criticism. So why the quiet now? Why go radio silent when the allegation is this serious? Could it be a strategy? Maybe. Could it be fear of making it worse? Possibly. But one thing is clear. Silence in this situation doesn't calm the storm. It only fuels it. And the longer Meghan and Harry say nothing, the more people begin to wonder, is there something they're trying not to say? Let's rewind. When Meghan was pregnant with Archie, many fans noticed things that felt off. At first, people chalked it up to personal preference or media bias. But in light of this new claim, some of those old moments suddenly feel worth revisiting.
No idea, which probably sounds difficult to understand.
For starters, there was no traditional hospital exit, no standard royal photo op with the newborn in arms. Instead, there was a highly polished, curated photo shoot, the kind you'd expect from a magazine, not a royal announcement. Then there was the bump itself. In different appearances, it seemed to change shape and position. At times, it moved in ways that looked odd on camera. There were viral clips where Meghan squatted or shifted her posture, and people noticed the bump seemed off. Now, no one wants to speculate unfairly, but looking back, those moments don't seem like harmless quirks anymore. They look like puzzle pieces, pieces that didn't fit at the time, but maybe do now. The lighting, the poses, the tightly managed schedule. It felt more like a brand campaign than a pregnancy. Was it all just about privacy? Or was there something being hidden in plain sight? Now here's where it goes beyond just one story. This isn't just about whether or not Meghan used a surrogate. It's about how that decision, if true, was handled. Because people aren't upset about the what. They're questioning the how.
He won't be given security. He's not going to be given a title. And also,
Using a surrogate is not scandalous. Many public figures have gone that route for medical, personal, or emotional reasons. But paying someone to disappear, pretending it never happened, that's what's stirring the backlash. Meghan has built her entire public image on being open, authentic, and brave. From leaving the royal family to launching global projects, she's positioned herself as someone who speaks the truth, even when it's hard. But if this woman's story holds up, then Meghan didn't just keep something private. She may have created an entirely different reality for the public. And where does Harry fit into all this? That's the question many are asking. Did he know about everything? Was he part of the plan? Or was he simply trusting Meghan to handle it? Harry has always come across as emotional and honest. But if he stayed silent to protect an illusion, his credibility takes a hit too. Especially since Archie's story isn't just personal, it's public and tied to a family whose legacy depends on transparency.
No parent wants to hear that their child will suffer, that they will face.
Here's where things could really spiral, and fast. Right now, the woman making these claims has held back. She hasn't gone on camera, she hasn't released any documents, she hasn't even publicly revealed her name. But what she's said so far? It's detailed enough to make people listen. She claims to have messages, timelines, names of people who were in the room, conversations with legal teams, notes about what she was promised, and what never came. And that's what's keeping this story alive. It's not vague, it's specific. And here's the scary part. For Meghan and Harry, at least, if she goes public with even one of those things, a screenshot, a signed agreement, even a voicemail, this stops being rumor and turns into reality. Think about how fast the internet moves. One post, one leak, one verified name or date, and the narrative flips. It wouldn't just be trending for a day, it would dominate headlines.
My family will never forgive me for writing a book. Of course, they will never forgive me for...
The coverage would shift from speculation to exposure. Because here's the truth, people aren't looking for perfection, they're looking for honesty. And if that honesty was bent or hidden to protect a brand, that's when trust collapses. Let's look at the ripple effect. Meghan and Harry have built their post-royal life on credibility. They've partnered with major platforms, launched global causes, signed book and media deals. All of that relies on one thing: public trust. If it turns out that a major part of their story, one as personal and emotional as the birth of their first child, was misrepresented, every deal, every platform, every audience starts asking, what else isn't real? Their critics would call it a cover-up. Their fans would feel betrayed. And neutral viewers, the ones who never picked a side, might suddenly lean in a different direction.
An escape from all sorts of intrusion, but I also felt...
And then there's the legal angle. If this woman has any paperwork proving there was an agreement to stay silent, and that agreement wasn't honored, that could open the door to legal battles, civil suits, depositions, discovery. Not because she's looking for revenge, but because she might want justice. Closure. It could force Meghan and Harry into courtrooms instead of red carpets, into legal responses instead of Netflix documentaries. Even worse, if she has allies. What if she wasn't the only one involved? What if there were assistants, staff, or advisors who were present and willing to speak? Suddenly, it's not just one voice, it's a chain reaction. Other people might come forward, and things that were once private could become very, very public.
Sire actually said to me, you ought to do it. And I said, look, I don't need to do that. I'm not down to do this. This is your...
And think about the emotional impact. Meghan and Harry are parents. Everything they do, they say, is for the protection and well-being of their kids. But when this type of story breaks, and it's handled with silence instead of honesty, it puts even more pressure on the children. Archie, in particular, becomes the center of a narrative he didn't choose. That's the most heartbreaking part. He's just a child. None of this is his fault. And yet, The way this story unfolds could shape how the world sees him and how he sees himself for years. Every time his name is mentioned in the press, it might be followed by question marks instead of confidence. This isn't just a family matter, it's public legacy. And let's not forget the royals. Even though Meghan and Harry stepped back from official duties, their ties to the royal family remain. If it turns out that Archie's birth was presented inaccurately, even unintentionally, it could raise complicated questions for the institution itself.
There was concern about his skin colour.
Right. Wouldn't you describe that as essentially racist?
I wouldn't.
So if a major detail about a royal birth was obscured, people might ask, was the palace aware? Were they misled too? Or did they help keep it quiet? What do you think? Is this woman telling the truth? Should Meghan and Harry address the rumor directly? And does this change how you see their carefully crafted public image? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read everything. And if you want to see how this story connects to other controversies in Meghan and Harry's timeline, check out this video right here. You don't want to miss it. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you're the first to know when the next chapter unfolds. Because something tells us this story is far from over.